Tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared. I walk a straight path, not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time. I live for the fight and the climb, and I think that the pain that's deep inside is what defines. So I won't give up, I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't care what's in my way, I swear I'm never gonna stop. I could fall flat on my face and I swear I will get back up, cause I don't deserve a thing and the road ahead is tough. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless.
Good evening, everyone. If there's anybody here, I know it's Sunday night and I don't normally broadcast, but I thought I would. I thought I'd give you all a little treat tonight. Can't see anyone, but I shall say hello, just in case. Right, okay, well, what I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to have a look at kind of geopolitics again. I'm going to look a bit at China. Yeah, China. Hello, Shalini. Hello, Dreadeye. Good evening. I'm going to look a bit at China and how China could potentially actually save Europe if we let it. Because there's a couple of things we have to remember about, stopping the boats and all that nonsense. Hi, Paul. Because the majority of our, I'm going to call them economic migrants, right? The majority of them come here illegally, but not over the channel. Most of them come on student visas and overstay their welcome. So the actual proportion that come in from the boats isn't that big. But again, China could possibly help us out there. So right, so I'm going to go into it because I've prepared the script, so I'm going to read it to you in my best voice, in my only voice. So today, wait, why is it not working? Oh no! Oh, good grief! Give me a second, people. My little device, my auto cue has stopped functioning. Give me a second, and then I'll tell you how China can save us all. Don't set everything up half an hour beforehand, and then don't touch it for the next half hour. Right, we're working now. Here we go. Right. So today we're going to go a bit into geopolitics. No cryptids or conspiracy theories here. We're looking at what be one of the most interesting geopolitical puzzles of our time. Can China actually help Europe deal with its African migration crisis? And let's go back in time a little. Let's start with some mind-blowing numbers. Back in 1900, Africa, as a continent, had about 140 million people, while Europe was the population heavyweight. Germany alone in 1900 had 56 million people, while the entire country of Nigeria, yes, where the princes come from, had only 19 million. If we fast forward to today, how has that flipped? Africa now has over 1.5 billion people. That's a tenfold increase. Meanwhile, Europe's barely grown at all. It's gone from 693 million in 1980 to about 745 million today. Nigeria today now has 225 million people. Germany has 83. Now, I know that's just numbers, but stick with me because this demographic shift is creating waves, and they wash up right on our European shores. So, you know me, I look at evidence, not emotions, and the evidence shows that while the media loves to show desperate people on rafts, fleeing for their lives from the most heinous of regimes and wars, most African migrants actually enter Europe legally at first on tourist visas and then overstay. Many are fairly well educated and fairly well off. But again, they're economic migrants because they're looking for opportunities they can't find at home. They're not running from war zones. They're not running from oppression. They're not really seeking asylum. So France is about 3.1 million people of African origin. The UK has around 1.6 million. And countries like Spain, Italy, and Germany each have more than 1 million African residents. This has become a political hot potato, especially since 2016, with populism and anti-migration sentiment spreading faster than ghost stories at a campfire. This is where China comes in. And it is kind of fascinating, because while we've been bickering about migration in Europe, China's been busy becoming Africa's new best friend. Since 2000, they've loaned African governments about 130 billion, making them the largest bilateral creditor in the region. Just this January, China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi kicked off 2025 with his 57th visit to Africa since 2013. That's 57 times that guy's been to Africa. So while European politicians are posing for photo ops with life jackets and dinghies, this guy's practically got a timeshare on the continent of Africa. And at the recent Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, China pledged almost 50.7 billion in credit lines and funding over the next 3 years. That's not charity. They're securing resources and building influence. China's firms now account for 8% of Africa's total mining output. Since 2019, their mine ownership has expanded by 21%. Now, here's where it gets really interesting because Europe and China see Africa completely differently. As journalist Estelle Youssoufa puts it, Europe sees Africa mainly as a source of migration problem, a continent that needs aid. China, on the other hand, sees it as a commercial market with diverse countries offering opportunities. So working with China is often perceived by African authorities as much faster and easier to deal with than dealing with Europe. Europe likes to attach conditions about democratic values and standards to its investments, maybe even pronouns. China just builds stuff and makes deals without asking uncomfortable questions. Now, don't get me wrong. I am, as you know, sceptical by nature, so I'm not saying China's in Africa out of the goodness of their hearts. Of course they aren't. Because as we said yesterday, remember, in the geopolitical sphere, countries act in their own interest. They don't act for the interest of other countries, even if it looks like they are. They're really acting in their own interests. So China wants resources. They want markets, especially when people like, Trump puts tariffs on them. So they want markets and they want global influence. But here's the thing, China doesn't really view itself as a martial country. It doesn't go around conquesting other nations. It does everything by communication and by commerce. So their approach might accidentally solve Europe's migration worries. The Chinese manufacturers who produce for African consumers have been prospering even during COVID. They're making everything from cement and plastics to cell phones and electric cars. They're meeting the demand of an expanding African middle class. That means jobs. Jobs that might keep young Africans in their own country and stop them seeking opportunities across the Mediterranean. So Africa to Europe manufacturing value chains could create jobs for millions of young Africans and free them from the need to take the risk of that irregular and dangerous crossing to Europe. So instead of shipping raw materials to Europe and getting finished products back, value could be added in Africa. I know some of you are waiting for me to unveil some grand conspiracy here, and I'm not going to. China and Europe are not secretly working together to control Africa's resources. And there's nothing about lizard people running mining operations. I'm really sorry to disappoint you, but sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. And the truth is, we're watching a new kind of great game unfold. China isn't setting debt traps. And Western critics of the Chinese Belt and Road Initiative are claiming that. Chinese lenders account for just 12% of Africa's external debt. That's lower than multilateral institutions or private creditors. But they're building strategic influence through the 30 new infrastructure projects announced at their recent meeting. If Europe's smart, and the jury's out on that, it really is, isn't it? They might stop criticising Chinese involvement in Africa and start supporting it, while bringing their own strengths to the table. Because although European countries are still the largest investors in Africa, with France's FDI stock in Africa larger than those of the United States or China, Europe excels at a different sort of service than China does. So we're good at giving greenfield investment, where China dominates in manufacturing. We provide services. So they could complement each other. China could build the infrastructure and factories, along with African labour and providing jobs for them, and Europe would provide the education, the governance, the expertise, the bureaucracy, if you will. Together, they could create opportunities that keep Africans building their futures at home rather than trying to get to Europe. So, I don't know, am I right or am I wrong? I don't know. I could be a meringue. It's just geopolitics that affects all of our lives today. China isn't saving Europe out of kindness, but it's their self-interested investment in Africa might do more to address migration than all of Europe's border policies combined. As usual, I'm looking at the evidence, not the conspiracy theories, because it doesn't matter how many boats you try and stop, you're never going to stop people coming in, especially when they really don't come in the numbers that you think across the channel. Most of them come legally and then become illegals because they outstay their tourist visa or their student visa. And the evidence suggests that if Europe wants fewer migrants, it should be cheering on Chinese factories in Africa, not criticising them. So what do you guys think? Is China Africa's saviour, Europe's helper, or is it just looking out for itself? Or is it doing all three? So, what do you think? Let's see. Who have we got? Shalini, Dreadeye, Paul, Espresso Mechanic TV. Hi, how you doing? Harold, Paul. Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, everybody goes on about stop the boats, but the boats is a tiny percentage of the amount of people that's coming into the country. And if they don't have a reason to come here, and of course I think there are things that need to be done internally in this country. You need to stop giving away so much to people that you know nothing about. If you're a migrant in France, you're living in a tent. You're not getting a house. You're not getting much in the way of benefits at all until you've been there for 2 years. And to be there for 2 years, you've got to give up your fingerprints to start with, so you've got to go on the system. And that's why a lot of the migrants that you see coming over here won't accept anything off the French because they won't go into their system. And a lot of them do, because as we've pointed out, France has got 3.1 million African migrants, which is horrendous when you think about it. But France is a huge country. So if they're scattered around the place, you don't notice them as much. But I think we need to look out for ourselves, and we really need to stop trying to be players on a world stage and actually start thinking about acting in our own interest as a country, acting for the interests of our people, acting for the interests of our culture, acting for the interests of our national pride. Not pandering to other cults, to other religions, we are one thing and we should concentrate on being that one thing. We are British. Don't try and become something that you're not. Because when people pretend and try and become something that they're not, most people can see straight through them. And that goes for countries too, because if you pretend to be something that you're not, people can see straight through you. And, anyone who has any ounce of sense can see straight through the EU. You look at the EU and you think, that's a corrupt organisation. That's not doing things right. That's not trying to help anyone except feather their own nest. Because remember, when Ursula talks about giving money for rearming and reindustrialisation, she's not talking about giving money, she's talking about lending money, because the EU is nothing more than a fancy bank. And they want to stir up what's occurring in Ukraine and maybe make it go further, because what the banks profit from most, as Rothschild is quoted as saying, isn't he? Wars are nothing more than a particular entertainment for his family. Yeah. See? you've got your money and your fingers in the right pie, you don't lose any money when it comes to war. That's why it comes to us, to the regular people, to speak up and to support people that want peace. And sometimes when you want peace, you have to do unpleasant things. And while it might seem harsh that Donald Trump is cutting off military assistance to Ukraine, it will probably bring peace much, much quicker than if he kept funding it. This is why, when you look at Europe, you've got to think, what's your game? Because funding something that is a losing bet is an act of stupidity, unless you're betting on the loser to lose. Yeah. Well, I don't think our politicians have done any different, Paul, from any other country. In fact, some have done worse than us. You know, Germany and China, Germany and France are like crazy. You get an incredible amount of people on board, and I mean, look at Italy and Spain; they're still getting swamped. So yeah, I think everybody's actually got the same problem. It's just you always hear about things closer to home than you do abroad. And then you do have to wonder, obviously, about the people that come so far to get to the UK. But then again, that's probably a combination of things like, yes, we appear to give way better benefits than any of the other countries. So those that can will make that extra step. And two, a lot of the people that are coming from Africa are coming from former British colonies. And of course, a lot of them are coming from former French colonies, so they're maybe staying in France. That's maybe why Africa's got France has got 3.1 million African migrants, because they probably speak French in Africa. So that's my thought for this evening. I was giving that some thought this morning, came up with that. So it's all about Belt and Road, and Belt and Road is this initiative that China have that acting in its interest. It's basically trying to expand its market into other places, like Africa, but not just Africa, because the BRI, or the Belt and Road Initiative, has 145 countries signed up to it. 2 recently left. One of them was Italy. Italy was signed up to it, and Panama was signed up to it, and they too have left. I don't know why. But Russia's in it, Iran's in it, all the Baltic countries are in it, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Netherlands is in it, I think Finland's in it. 145 countries. There's only, how many countries are there in the world? 186? So it's easier to say the ones that aren't in it. And even New Zealand's in it. Austria's in it. So, yeah, the BRI is quite a big thing. So they've signed basically a letter of understanding with China that they will help each other out on certain projects and allow certain things, probably tariff free. It's quite interesting. Quite interesting when you dig into it. And China's, as I said, it's not a martial country. It doesn't really go about conquering other countries. Russia does. UK does. America does. We're very martial countries. Japan's even a bit of a martial country. They used to do that as well. But China's not. China plays a long game. China'd rather sit you down for tea and make sure that you buy everything that they're selling you. So, anyway, I think that'll end that part on China. Is there anything else? Europe's in a real mess. That's right. You're right, it is, Paul. Europe is in an incredible mess at the moment. Um, it's shocking, and our our growth rate, as I've pointed out at the beginning of that skit, is poor compared to Africa. But the question is, do you want to? Well, it's not going to matter the way things are going. The population's more likely to collapse than it is to expand to the point where there aren't enough room for us. Because I know this sounds crazy, but 8 billion people isn't a lot of people on a planet this size. And there are plenty of open space. You go into the Highlands of Scotland, and I think you've got something like 8 people for every square kilometre, which is pretty low. Pretty damn. Is that square or square mile? I can't remember, but there's pretty low. So population collapse is more on the cards, and people have pointed this out on a number of occasions. Those that are pointing out that we're running away with population are wrong, because you all you need to do is look at the figures, and it's telling you that population is going to collapse in about 50 years, and then the figures will start trending downwards really quickly. That will be a challenge, but it won't be a challenge for me. Maybe a challenge for some of you, I don't know, but it won't be a challenge for me. But there you go. What would you do? What would you do? I see the world's still mad. I see that Kursk is effectively fallen now. And to me, that is a disgusting misuse of manpower and a traitorous act on your own army to leave them exposed in that position when everyone and their auntie could see what was happening. Everyone knew that they were going to get cut off. And to allow that to happen is just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. So you've got in the region of anything between 4,000 and 10,000 troops stuck in Kursk. So they've no option but to surrender. All for what? A PR stunt? Because that's effectively all it ever was. They pushed into Kursk. I think initially they were going to try and push for the nuclear reactor so as they could shut it down or dare I say, use it as a dirty bomb, but they never got anywhere near it. And then it just turned into this propaganda stint where they could say, you occupy us, we occupy you, And really, has it achieved anything? No, I don't think it has. Other than kill a lot of people on both sides. It's quite sad to hear the Europeans leaders and people on Twitter and liberals and Democrats in particular, calling out for more death, more destruction, rather than take the path of peace. I find it quite disturbing, and I find it quite strange how many soldiers don't understand what they were actually doing when they were soldiering. Because as a young man, you have different ideals. You go into these things thinking you are, fighting for Queen and country as it was then. And sometimes you very quickly get your eyes opened and you think, this isn't what I thought it was. And sometimes it takes a longer time, because things are pretty good and you've not been involved in anything in particular, and then eventually, your eyes start to open. But to go through, any decent length of service as a cop or as a even a nurse probably, or a soldier or a sailor or RAF personnel, to go through any length of service and not realise that everything's not quite how you were told it was, is to be pretty naive. Like that guy that was on BBC Question Time, the one that looked like the Beaver. I mean, he said he was an ex-military veteran, which means nothing really. It means you were in you were in the services at some point. How long? We don't know. Did you serve anywhere that saw action? Don't know. What was your role? Don't know. And everybody claps and said, when he says that it's disgusting what Trump's doing, trying to negotiate some kind of peace. And I can see what Trump's doing, because what he's trying to do is he's trying to get Zelensky to admit that he's going to have to bend a little bit. And yeah, the problem is Russia had already done all that. They had done that at the very start when they were ready to sign that agreement. They weren't even going to keep the Donbass. But no, we had to change that, didn't we? But there you go. There you go. Right. Anyway, I think that's enough. I'm going to play you out, people. One's on the vertical stream. I'm going to say goodbye because I can't. You can't get the same. You don't get the same experience for the music vids because they are full screen. So I'm not going to cut a special. I know I love you dearly, but I'm not going to cut a special one for you. So goodbye, vertical streamers. It's been nice and great for you. So they're off, and now I'm going to play you guys out with an old one. I'm going to play you out with the old intro. So there's some faces in there that you might recognise. So as always, thank you for coming along tonight, and back tomorrow with Sgt Grumpy's daily briefing. So that should be up at some point, and we'll see what else. We might even do a stream tomorrow night. We'll see how crazy the news is and whether we need to keep going. Thank you. Good night.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way. I can't contain it, I'm coming out with a statement. You really changed, man, all your music and arrangement. You don't know shit, shut your mouth, you can save it. I'm the same dude that got his come up from the basement. 100 songs, 100 weeks, didn't change it. Experiments, development, intelligence, and patience. I'll do it all again, cause I never feel complacent. Let's keep the good vibes, positivity's contagious. I'm never looking back, cause I made a life that's passionate. A college graduate suppressing all his talents, yeah. He found a way to go and change, become an advocate. For taking control of your life, go out and battle. And you think you have a dream, then act on it. Get after it, get out your head and fucking capture it. You got one life to master it. Don't give up on your future, we all start losers. We're all late bloomers, gotta struggle through the sewer. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make